Yo boys, what's up? It's XRAYZ and welcome back to another video. So we have had the Switch 2 for about a month now, and I wanted to talk to you guys about the good, the bad, the meh about the Switch 2, just kind of going over what I like, what I didn't like, what could be better, and just overall thoughts here 1 month into the life cycle of the Switch 2. So the question becomes at that point, is it worth the $449 or is it just an original Switch with a shinier body and with Joy-Cons that still betray you? Well, let's break it all down, the good, the meh, the bad, and what's coming next for the Switch 2. If you guys do go on to enjoy the video, then make sure to drop a like and subscribe with notifications on so you don't miss a single upload. And if you want to support the channel directly, then you can do so by checking out my sponsors, Control Freak, Aim Controller. I use them every time I play. Code XRAYZ gets you a discount, link in the description below to that. So make sure to check them out, link down below. If you guys want to see even more content from me, then make sure to check me out over on my other social media, on Twitter at XRAYZ and on TikTok at the XRAYZ for even more content, link down below to both. With that said, let's jump into this review. All right, so first up, we got to give it up to Nintendo. We got to give them credit where credit is due, and that is that the Switch 2 absolutely delivers in the performance department. It's packing a brand new NVIDIA chip that works and does 4K when docked. It also has a tweaked version of the NVIDIA DLSS, so it is punching way above its weight class. And because of that, it's able to do 4K when it's docked, 1080p while it is in handheld mode. Now, not all games are in 4K, but overall, the performance has been absolutely killer with a lot of really stable frame rates. And it doesn't look like it even bends the knee when it comes to games like Cyberpunk 2077 on the Nintendo console. So we've entered a new timeline when it comes to Nintendo's video game performance. All right, the second really good thing about the Switch 2 is going to be the bigger 7.9-inch HDR screen. Now this screen, as someone who has the Switch OLED, I bought the Tears of the Kingdom OLED edition. I think the screen looks really nice. Now, there have been some reports, and we'll talk about this in the meh and bad sections, but there's been reports that the frame rate smoothness in terms of side-scrolling games isn't the best. But from someone who's got probably terrible eyes, I can tell you that the screen absolutely pops, looks very vibrant. It looks really good, almost as good as the OLED screen for my Switch 1. So again, it could just be that I've got terrible eyes. I'm pretty blind, as you guys can see, but I think the screen is really solid. It's a lot bigger, which I really like. And overall, I really don't have as much gripes with the screen as other people seem to have. The next really good thing about the Switch 2 that I really like is going to be the Switch 2 Joy-Cons. The new magnetic system is way better than this sliding rail system. I didn't think I was gonna like it more. I thought that the sliding rail on the Switch 1 was better at first before I tried the Switch 2, and it is night and day. It's so much better, it's so much easier, it's more satisfying removing and adding the grips. It also is less annoying to like try to line up the thing to slide onto the rails. Some attachments or accessories that you buy feel like the rails is like too tight or too loose. So I personally really like the new Joy-Cons. The new HD Rumble 2 is really awesome. The new mouse control mode that you can have with the Joy-Cons are also really, really cool. I think that Nintendo could really use this along with third-party developers. I think just in general, the Joy-Cons are a pretty nice upgrade from the original Switch 1 when it comes to the quality of the build, when it comes to the functionality of the mouse pad, and also when it comes to the magnet system. I think it's honestly super satisfying and one of my favorite things about the Switch 2. All right, so the other thing, continuing on about the quality I mentioned for the Joy-Cons, the Switch 2 just feels like a premium device. The build quality is super solid. There's even been videos of people who usually do stress tests on the Switch 2. A lot of them, I'd say the vast majority of the ones that I have seen, have them saying that the Switch 2 is a very durable machine, and it feels like that in your hand. It's got a little bit more weight to it. Even though it's bigger, it feels premium. The new kickstand is a lot better as well. I personally think that it feels now like an actual premium device that you can go around with and not like a toy like you did sometimes with the original Switch. All right, so this one is kind of funny that it's in the good because you kind of wish this was a thing prior to the Switch 2, but I really enjoy GameChat. I've been using it a lot when it comes to playing with my younger brother, with my nephew. I didn't think I was going to like it as much. The quality isn't great. The features aren't amazing. We'll talk about that in the other sections. But for now, just overall, GameChat is a welcome addition to the Switch 2. Feels pretty good and it's more useful and more easy to use than I thought it was going to be. So GameChat to me is a thumbs up. All right, so let's talk about backwards compatibility. Nintendo killed it by making sure that the Switch 2 was backwards compatible. And not only that, but they added performance boosts for a lot of games. And I think that moving forward, you'll be seeing the same with other games that haven't received those boosts just yet. So hopefully in the future, a lot of these other games that haven't received the Switch 2 performance boosts end up receiving them with updates in the future. But for now, the backwards compatibility along with the performance boosts when you're playing on the Switch 2 has been pretty awesome. It's a major W for the Nintendo Switch 2. All right, so the last thing I'll say about the things that I really like about the Switch 2 is that when it comes to it being a portable that you can also dock, I love my Switch 1. I used it a ton. I wore out a lot of controllers playing on my Switch 1, but it very much felt like a handheld console that you just happen to be able to dock. This one feels reverse. It feels like an actual home console that you just happen to be able to take with you on the go, which to me is a major W for Nintendo. All right, let's go ahead and talk about the meh. The battery life is not great. Is it okay? It is. It's not great. It's kind of meh. It's an okay battery life. Is it comparable to the Switch 1? Maybe. Honestly, it feels like it runs out a little bit faster, but I was hoping that with an upgraded version of the Switch 2, that it would have better battery, but it is what it is. It's okay. It's not great. It's not terrible. It's just kind of meh. So there you go. All right, for Joy-Cons, it's going to be another meh for me. They didn't even change the ergonomics of the Joy-Con. They literally made it bigger than it was before, albeit with new features and a new way to connect it. But overall, the shape, it's a little more comfortable because it's bigger, but overall, I still wish that they had made the ergonomics like they could do whatever the hell they wanted, and they decided that they just wanted to make it bigger Joy-Cons, which kind of sucks in my opinion. So I really wish they had redone it. So the Joy-Cons, they're not terrible because they're bigger, they're not as crampy, but it's still pretty meh compared to the original Switch. All right, the other kind of thing that isn't great but isn't terrible is the storage space. They did bump it up from the original Switch to 256 gigabytes, so definitely more space, but that's not nearly enough in today's day and age. It sucks. I feel like a lot of consoles now have 512. This one had 256. You can add a micro SD, which does boost it up. And you can also get games physically, which is why a lot of people get physical games for the Switch because they don't want to take up memory, but it's okay. It's like, it's all right, but not great. You guys get what I mean from the mess section. All right, the next thing, the launch lineup, it's pretty lean. There's not a lot going on besides ports, but I mean, they have like their really awesome first party game right now with Mario Kart World, and we got Donkey Kong Bonanza coming up. But overall, you're really having the Switch 1 games with performance updates do the backpacking for the Switch 2, which isn't great. All right, boys, let's go ahead and talk about the bad for the Switch 2 because there's quite a bit. And this could be nitpicky stuff on one hand, but other stuff that's just kind of like, well, why did Nintendo not update this? So we'll start off. Why did they not use an OLED screen on the Switch 2? You could say that it's because they want to release an OLED version in the future. Sure, maybe that's what they're doing. It could be that they wanted to have the price as low as they possibly could have it at, and so they decided not to have the OLED version. Are we going to have a $550 OLED Switch 2 in a few years? I don't know, but regardless of where you are on if it was more affordable to do it that way, it still sucks that they didn't at least give you the option to choose between the regular non-OLED Switch 2 and the OLED version of it. I just feel like they had an opportunity here to do that. But again, we don't know Nintendo. Maybe that's coming down the pipe later on and they just wanted to make sure they had as much of the base version as possible. So it's a gripe, it's bad, but I'm not gonna be too upset by it. All right, number two, this was probably one of the most frustrating things that I'm upset Nintendo did. They didn't add any updates to the Joy-Cons to avoid the drift issue. Maybe they addressed it a little bit. Maybe it's been maybe it's not fully solved, but somewhat solved. But it would have been really nice to see them have Hall effect control sticks that essentially remove any chance of there being Joy-Con drift, but they didn't do it. So honestly, that's pretty freaking bad. All right, the next one is a bad. I was gonna put it in meh, but this is kind of bad because you're going from one generation to the other generation if you are to believe that there's a leap between the Switch 1 and the Switch 2, but they didn't give you another chance to customize your OS. The Switch 2 does not have any themes that you can swap to besides the regular 2 themes we already had on the original Switch. They don't let you have custom stuff. There's no background music. There's no folders that you can make so you can have certain folders for certain games, etc. There's just not a lot of customization, and honestly, that is a terribly bad for Nintendo to not do that. And then the bad that we have as well is also the launch lineup. There just was not a lot of brand new exclusives, a lot of old stuff. It feels a lot like a Switch 1 that just performs better in certain times, and that really sucks. Unless you're playing a game like Mario Kart World, like you're playing, maybe you're playing Tears of the Kingdom with the performance boost. Some of those games do feel truly next gen, but then if you're not doing that, you're mostly playing regular Switches, and it's like you're playing a more expensive Switch 1. Which is not a great feeling when you just dropped $500 after taxes for your Switch 2. So was the Switch 2 worth it? Honestly, if you're a Nintendo fan or you enjoy hybrid gaming, then to me, then yes, it's actually a pretty big step up from the original Switch. Like I said, there's a lot of really good things. There's a lot of things that can be improved as well. But overall, I do not regret buying my Switch 2. I'm really happy with my purchase, and I'm using my Switch 2 quite often. So personally, it was worth it for me. Is it worth it for you? It really depends on how happy you are with your Switch 1 right now, how rushed you feel to jump into a Switch 2, whether that be Donkey Kong Bonanza, if you want to play that, whether you don't care about that and you're waiting for Metroid Prime 4. It really depends on what that system seller is for you. But for me personally, as someone who just loves to buy Nintendo stuff, it was a day one buy for me, and I don't regret it, which I think at least that's a good sign that I'm not going there and thinking, wow, I wasted my money. So if you do have a Switch 2, let me know in the comment section below. Do you regret buying your Switch 2? Did you return it? Are you enjoying it? And let me know what are the good, the meh, and the bad for the Switch 2 that you personally have experienced if you've been able to get your hands on the Switch 2. If you don't have the Switch 2, let me know what are things that are holding you back from buying it, or maybe what's the things that are making you want to buy it, you just haven't been able to. So comment down below. It's super appreciated. Let's get the conversation going, and I'll definitely be there reading and replying to everything. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, drop a like. If you're new, make sure to subscribe and notifications on so you don't miss a single upload. And if you want to support the channel directly, you can do so by checking out my sponsors, Control Freak and Aim Controller. I use them every single time that I play. Code XRAYZ gets you a discount, link in description below to that, or through my Amazon influencer page if you guys would much rather do it that way. And then if you guys want to talk and interact, at XRAYZ over on Twitter, follow me over there. Also on TikTok at the XRAYZ. I have a lot of content that I post over there as well, so make sure to check me out if that is your preferred platform. But anyways, with that said, you guys have an amazing day. I'll see you guys in the very next upload. Take care. I'm out. Peace.